Thank you for taking time to join us today. I am Kara Pepper Day, Account Director up here in Portland, Oregon, and joining us from SoCal is Tim Jones, Grapevine's co-founder and Chief Customer Success Officer.
Hi everyone. Hi Kara.
Hi there. Tim is very passionate about this methodology and we're excited to share on the topic. Define sales drivers to be executed and take action to achieve the perfect account. Don't just check on things, get them done. We have half an hour set aside, including a Q&A session at the end. Just a little housekeeping before I pass it over to Tim. Everyone is on mute, but please do type questions in the panel on the right side of your screen. And as always, if more specific questions arise from this review, please let us know and we can follow up directly with you and your team. I'll pass it over to you, Tim.
Great. Well, thanks, Kara. I'm really excited to talk to this group today about my favorite topic, which is sales and driving that retail and on-premise execution that delivers the case volumes that your businesses need to expand. And we're going to show you a few best practices today and talk to you about a few best practices today, and also demonstrate how you can utilize a tool like Grapevines to actually implement a really strong sales methodology and strategy that'll help you meet your goals. So without any further ado, let's talk a little bit about the methodology. We at Grapevines believe that you should not just be out in the marketplace surveying what's going on and examining what's going on and recording what's going on, but you need to actually be selling and executing the right activities that are going to drive your business. That's what it's all about. And some suppliers in the beverage alcohol industry are notorious for just going around and checking, if you will, on what they see in accounts without actually selling or doing anything about it. Well, we've got a better methodology, which is actually get out and sell. And in order to set your team up for success, you've got to have the right methodology in place. And that includes being able to answer these very, very simple questions. It's not complicated. But your sales team needs to know these things. Number one, what accounts should I focus on? If you're not targeting accounts and steering your team in the right direction to the right ones that deliver the most value for your brands and your company, then you're missing an opportunity and you're going to have inefficient people in the field, and the activities they're executing won't deliver the value you're looking for. So what accounts should I focus on? Number two, what should I be trying to accomplish in each account? There are different account segments, different account types, different priorities in different markets around the country, and it's important to tell your people in the field what they should be accomplishing or trying to accomplish in every account, by segment, by type, by market. Give them the roadmap. The next thing is you need to be able to measure your success at doing these things versus perfection, if you will. What is perfection? What does perfection look like in an account? And also against a goal, so that your people can work towards achieving perfection, but if that's not achievable, they can work towards hitting a goal for each and every account that they visit. And they need to do this in real time with a tool that's going to take them through the process and help facilitate this methodology. Okay, so measure their success. You also need to be able to create objectives or follow-up tasks while you're in the account so that you don't lose any key information and you are able to constantly improve on the situation in every account on an ongoing basis, right? It's not good enough to make an account visit and write some notes on a napkin or even write some notes in an email. You need a tool to help you execute, and creating objectives in every account to follow up on is critically important, right? Every good salesperson should have an open objective in every one of their key accounts that they want to work on next. So the next thing you need to do is take action to close all the gaps, to get yourself closer to perfection in every account, get yourself closer to your goals in every account. And you need a tool to help you do that. And then measure that progress, right, and do the analysis. And you need to be able to do what we like to call real-time execution, right? So it's a simple approach. You need to plan, right? Define your strategy that are going to really increase your sales. You need to have a good game plan and outline that and clearly communicate it to your team. You need to then go out and execute it. You need to measure it and then refine it and redo. And you need a tool to help facilitate this process all the way through. So what are the right things to be executing when you're out in the field? And we really believe you need to try to drive the right behavior from your field sales team. And the right behaviors are having them focus on the leading indicators of sales, okay? Not the lagging indicators of sales, which are the actual sales themselves, shipments or depletions or RAD or STR. We're talking about focusing on the leading indicators of sales. What are the activities and behaviors that they need to execute that will drive sales? Things like securing cocktail menus, right, or increasing your visibility in accounts. We know that will drive future sales. Getting a brand on display in the front of the store, we know will drive future sales. Getting your product in a cold box. Doing a staff training, right, is a great example of an activity that if you do a staff training in an account, that is a leading indicator that you will start to sell more cases in that account. So focus your teams on the leading indicators of sales. Do not focus them on the lagging. Don't focus them on sell 30 cases this week. That's the wrong approach. What do they need to do to sell those 30 cases? That's where you need to focus them. You need to reward them for success against executing these leading indicators. Okay? Don't only reward them on achieving the lagging indicators, the sales goal. You know, sell 30 cases this week is an example we're using. You could reward them if they achieve that, but why not reward them on doing the staff trainings, the menu placements, the displays, and the cold box placements that will deliver those 30 cases in sales and beyond for the future? That's what you need to reward. And then, of course, you need to be able to analyze these activities that everyone is executing out in the field to make sure you're doing the right things in the right accounts at the right time. And you need a tool to be able to help you do this because it's complicated, right? But, you know, an example we have here shows, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about scoring your execution in an account and how you can monitor your progress and monitor your scores over time and see what those improved scores or change in scores do to your RAD or sales data, or sorry, sales that you experience in that account. So if you're getting closer to perfection with your execution and your execution score, you should see that increase in sales. And if you're not, you're probably executing the wrong things. Okay. So one example we have in our tool is some dashboards where, you know, with Grapevines, we have baked into our product all of your retail account data, all of your sales to retail from your distributors. And here you can see a really complex analysis of all the different activities, right, the leading indicating activities that can be executed, and what those activities meant to your sales volumes. If you have a baseline, right, of selling, you know, this many cases, 1.72 cases in an average account, if you've done a staff training, you're able to now, in our tool, see that any account that received a staff training did 5.31 cases, right, and they grew their volume versus last year or the prior period. You can see how many of those activities you've done. So you can now quantify the activities you're doing, the leading indicating activities you're doing, and what they are doing to move the needle in terms of sales. This is now comparing your leading indicators to the lagging indicators, right? This is a true ROI type of analysis. So through this type of analysis, if you've got the information all in one place, you're able to really gain some good insights about what are the right types of things you should be executing when you're out in the field. So I'm going to talk for a second about, from a management standpoint, what you need to do to make sure you have a recipe for success. And the first thing you need to do is define perfection for every single account segment and product, etc. And you need to prescribe the leading indicators that you want your team to execute. And you need to do this by account segment, by account type, by market, by product, to make sure your strategy is really in line with what is important for the brands that you're working against. Okay, the strategic imperatives are what need to be executed here, and the management team's responsibility is to outline this very clearly so the salespeople know exactly what they need to be doing, and even prioritize them, right, with weights or points. So we have a system in Grapevines where we call it a survey, but I'm going to show you briefly what that might look like. We're going to go then and actually execute against that survey in a minute in our mobile app, but allow me to take a second to show you how you can really plan for success by telling your team what they should be focusing on. So this is a survey we've built that's for a specific time period, for a specific set of accounts, a segment, and what we're able to do here is layer in what we call survey questions, but give them target answers and point values so that you're able now to, as a user in the field, as a field rep, you're able to see what you're supposed to be executing when you walk into that account by just starting the survey, and how important it is to execute each one of the individual questions or each one of the individual strategic sales drivers that you've got. Right? Things like just getting on the back bar are important, but getting up a glorifier or using a condiment tray or getting a 3-liter dummy bottle placed or a menu listing, or did you get that tequila sunrise on the menu, right? And how many points is that worth? So by setting all this up and designing the survey the right way, when your field sales rep goes into an account and they start that survey, they're going to know exactly what's expected of them. They're going to know exactly what they're supposed to be executing in that account, and now they can work against it. Okay. Let me step back over the presentation. We're about to get into the demo. But let's talk for a second about that sales rep then and what their workflow looks like. Well, the sales rep needs to start off by scheduling their visits. Again, picking the right accounts and being able to put them on their calendar and schedule that visit. Then they go to the account. They need to be able to see what's expected of them. In other words, they need to see that definition of what perfection is in that account, and they need to survey against it. After they do that, they need to be able to set objectives to close the gaps where they may have missed an opportunity on the survey. If they didn't have the menu, they can set an objective to go and get the menu, get that placement, get that cold box, whatever it is, so nothing slips through the gaps. They also need to be able to collaborate with their partners after they walk out of the account. If their distributor wasn't with them, or if you are a distributor and your supplier wasn't with you, you need to be able to collaborate with your partners so that you can work together to move the needle forward and close those objectives and achieve those objectives that you have open. Then you need to revisit the account and sell against the objectives, right? Sell those leading indicators. That's what you're selling. When you resurvey the account, you'll see a new score, and you're able to measure the results and hopefully see improvements. And that will hopefully translate into increased sales. So you need a tool to be able to do this, and you need it to be a mobile application that runs on both tablets and phones, and you need it to be in real time, and you need it to be well designed for this industry, for the beverage alcohol space. And that's what Grapevines has done. So I'm going to take you through now a very quick demo of what this might look like for a session. So I'm going to show my iPad here. And let me get this to show.
And as you're doing that, Tim, just as a reminder, you please do type in questions on the right-hand panel. We have a couple that have come through, but we'll hold until the end. So.
Great, thanks, Kara. So here I am on my mobile app. I'm on an iPad. In this case, I'm just displaying it here on my screen. I've gone to my my Grapevines application here, and that I downloaded from the App Store, and I've opened up here. I'm going to start by looking at a dashboard tab that I have in the application. This is an example of some of the analytics that we have running inside the app to tell you exactly where you stand against perfection and against the goals that your management has set for you to execute against. So in this example, I'm in here as a Kara sales rep, and she can see here that she has a Spirits Perfect Account survey that she's been working on in her Spirits on-premise accounts. Her current average score in those accounts is 52 out of 100. The goal is for her to be at 75 points out of 100. So she's achieved 69% of her goal. She's got some work to do. But at the same time, she has also created objectives in all of her accounts to move the needle forward and close the gaps to perfection. And she's got about 70 points available in open objectives that she has out there waiting for her to go work on and execute against. If she gets these accomplished, by the way, it will take her score to 58. She's at 52 now. If she just closes these objectives, her score will be 58, and she'll be a little bit further along her way to perfection and to achieving her goal. Okay. And by the way, here's the list of her accounts down below. Here's her latest score. Here's the latest score versus the prior survey she did there. And here's the open objectives that she's got and the amount of points she has open and available for her to work against in each one of these accounts. But we're also now looking at what the RAD data, what has the sales in this account been over the last 3 months, and how is that different? How has that changed from the prior 3 months? Right? So you can see here that in this Buffalo Wild Wings, she's got a score of 70. She increased her score by 40% versus the prior survey, which means she's accomplished a couple things, but she still has a few open objectives in here worth about 15 points that she wants to work on. And by the way, Buffalo Wild Wings sales have gone up 1.4% versus the prior 3-month period. So this account's moving in the right direction because of this work that she's doing and how the application is walking her through it. So let's take a step back now and go over to our calendar tab. As I click on the calendar tab, it opens up a calendar, right, that's synced with my system in the back end. And I can see all my upcoming events. And by the way, I've got an account visit scheduled for 11:30 today at a Bella Italian Kitchen. I'm going to click on this account. And from here, I can click the arrow and go straight into the account. As I'm looking at the account now, I've got all kinds of details about the account, whether that be CRM-related data around contacts or open objectives, my history in the account. So lots of things to work on. But now I'm just going to step in and go into my survey, and I'm going to actually execute this Spirits Perfect Account survey in this account. When I open it up, I can see all the questions. These are all the strategic priorities that my company has asked me to do. I can copy the previous scores from my prior survey. I can toggle through different tabs and make any changes that I need to make. And I'm actually going to update a couple of these questions here and go back in and tell the survey to submit. And I can see my score change. So as I execute this survey, let me go back into it here. I apologize. As I execute this survey, where did I make that change? Let's make a change here. I'm going to say I've got 2 menu listings here and 2 menu listings here. Great. I'm going to submit it. And what you'll see now is my score has gone up 20 points better than my previous survey, and I'm at 90%. So at this point, I can finish my survey and go back. I can also now look and see all the open objectives that I still have in this account that are going to help me close that gap to get to 100%, right? I can see I still need to get my cloud rum and distribution, right? Or I still need to get my Griffin Bay tequila on the menu. And if I do those things, right, I'm going to increase my score and get myself to 100. When I open up that objective, right, you can see that I've got a content tab here. So this is my Griffin Bay Tequila menu objective. I can see that I have a presentation available. So now I can go into the account, turn my iPad around, and make a presentation to try to secure that menu placement in that account. So I've got content directly linked to objectives that I need to achieve in the account to help you win. Okay, and close all your deals. Now, after I complete my my survey, which I just did, you also will get an email emailed to you that gives a recap of exactly what you just did in that account. So I'm going to bring this over very quickly and show you my email. So you can see here, Kara, after she completed this, she got an email saying that in this account, Albia Kitchen, these are the questions and these are the answers she gave. I can take this and forward this on to a distributor partner or anyone else in my company and ask them to go and help me work on some of these things or close some gaps. So you've got some records that you can share through emails that happen automatically. Okay. In addition, I can come back in just in my mobile app here and go over to my home page. And you notice I have a button up here called Activity Recap Email. Right from my mobile device now, I can set up a report, if you will, that runs and displays itself in an email, in the body of an email, that just says exactly what accounts I've called on and all of my notes and survey information. And I can run this right from my iPad. I'm going to run this as Kara from this date to this date. And you can see here it shows up and says, here's all the accounts Kara called on. Here's all the activities she executed. And you'll notice these little feedback boxes are here. When she now goes and sends this email, by clicking email, and sends this email, it's going to come into her own inbox, and she can forward it to her distributor partner or whomever, and they can then collaborate by entering feedback directly into these boxes in the email and reply to Kara, and now they've started to close the loop and work together on collaborating on moving the needle ahead based on the account visits that she's made. In addition now, I might say, okay, great, what am I going to do next? I finished my day. I had a pretty successful day. I opened my iPad up tomorrow, and I can come up here now and click on this journey plan. And in this journey plan button, what I'm going to see here is a list of, apologies, let me show you what you're going to see. I hadn't logged in ahead of time. Let me open up the page that you will see. So my journey plan looks a little bit like this. Looks exactly like this, as a matter of fact. I can see a list view of all of my accounts where I have open objectives, right, to work against my Spirit's perfect account scores. And I can see exactly what the objective is. I've got a 6-apple cherry menu I need to get, and if I get that, it's worth 10 points. And I've set the objective for myself to accomplish it by 6:13. What I can do now is go through and say, yes, I need to go to this Sarah Veza account. I need to go to the 19th hole, and I want to go back to Albella Kitchen to close that objective. And I can add these to my calendar right from here. And you can do this right in the mobile app. I'm going to say I'm going to go to these accounts next Wednesday, the 15th, and I'm going to set my times, 10:30, noon, and 2. And save, and now I've just added those accounts to my calendar to go and visit to help close the gaps against those objectives that I have open in there in those accounts. Okay. So lastly, I'm going to go back in and I may go back in and revisit an account, take another survey, close some more objectives, do some other CRM work. I can look at my reports and dashboards to see how my scores have changed and see where my open objectives are today, and set my plan to go and visit the right accounts to work on the right objectives to move my scores forward. Right. So, in a nutshell, that's how the Grapevine's mobile app helps you execute with excellence out in the field, and really is a tool that can help you execute in real time to drive those actual results. Okay, it's not good enough just to go out and survey and see what's there and what's not there. You need to close the gaps and execute against those leading indicators and move the needle forward to sell more and sell better.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions, and we're really close on time, but I think we have time to sneak them in here. If we have used surveys in the past, can we restructure old surveys to fit this methodology?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that we have, Kara, is the ability within the survey admin interface to create what we call a survey question bank, so that you can reuse questions over and over again in different account segments, on different surveys at different times, so that from an analytical purpose you can always come back and analyze how you've answered a specific question over time. So you can easily take your historical surveys, turn those into new survey questions in Grapevines, and publish them onto surveys for people to go out and start executing against. But you can reuse those questions from the past over and over again.
Very good. Can I get my distributors to take these surveys? That's always a good question.
Very good question. And that's on our roadmap. We've been talking a lot about that, and certainly we have license. In order to use Grapevines, you need a license. Well, how do you get your distributor to come into your system and take a survey? And the answer is, well, the distributors tend to like to use their own tools to do their work, but if you are able to get a distributor to go out and do a survey and actually participate in this process with you, then that's great. That's really important. So we are building in our roadmap in our next release and our coming release the ability to email surveys that distributors you want distributors to complete and execute against by account directly to a rep. They can simply open up the email, it'll open up the interface, they can take the survey and hit submit, and that data will come right back into the Grapevine system for you to be able to analyze. It'll be flagged as a survey that they've executed at the distributor level, so you'll be able to really get some added efficiency by having your distributors work on this stuff directly in your own system. So that's coming in a future release.
It's very exciting. We're listening to our customers, driving our roadmap, right?
That's right.
Well, Tim, you did a great job today. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We did record this presentation today, and we will post it on our website. You can log in and review this and past webinars. So thank you guys for taking the time and joining us today, and reach directly to us if you have more specific questions. Thanks so much.
Okay, they're gone. And I'm still recording. And Tim left. Kara?
I guess it stop. I'll mute you. Stop it. And we'll mute you and go.
What? Stop the recording? Gotta find the button.
Jim is ending it. He's trying to find